Good morning, fam. What's up? Modern Day Caveman here again. I told you guys that I was struggling with adjusting. I ain't gonna say struggling, but I was just, I knew I was having a couple issues with adjusting, man. And I needed to talk to somebody, so I called my PO. Actually, I told my boss first. I told my boss that, dude, hey, man, I know everybody's. Well, I think everybody kind of forgets that I've only been out for a few months, man. Really, it's only been 7 months, and I'm still adjusting, man. So I want to help guys, as bad as I want to help guys, man. I really can't be effective if I'm still struggling with some things myself. So, I just needed to talk to somebody. I needed I didn't need counseling, but I just needed to, I don't know, vent, man. I just needed to talk, I guess. I don't know, just be around some people. So I told my boss, man, and he was like, listen, man, he applauded me for even acknowledging that I needed help. That I was telling him that I needed to I guess, decompress maybe. So he told me to call my PO because he knew that my PO, had resources. And so I called my PO yesterday, the day before yesterday, Tuesday, and I told him hey, man, I told him the same story, dude, I'm out here, I'm trying to do the best that I can, I'm trying to help guys, man, but I'm still struggling myself, man. There's still issues that I'm dealing with. And so he was like, he said, I said, I don't need counseling, man, I just kind of need. So he says, man, I got this thing, this group that we're affiliated with. It's called the PIT program, man. It's called a Positive Influence Team. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, they meet, the first 3 Wednesdays of every month. It's in the evening. It's, it's a nice, program. It's for guys like-minded guys like you, coming out of prison, trying to do the right thing, get their stuff together. And I'm like, oh, okay. He said it's not counseling. It's just like a group setting, and the guy Stan Ross, he's a good spirit-led guy. And I think you two guys will hit it off. And he says, as a matter of fact, I believe you'll get as much value out of it and you'll also bring value to it. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, I think you guys will be a good pair, man. He said, go ahead and give him a call. He said, just, go to the meeting. He said, matter of fact, they got a meeting tomorrow. And he said, just go there, and if you like it, just go to the start going. If you don't, it's all right. He says, but I'll start the paperwork on my end anyways, just in case, But he was like, man, just let me know what you think. Just go. If this is what you think you're looking for. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I give it a shot, So, but I could feel God stirring. I could feel God moving, because when He moves, it's crazy how God orchestrates things, right? So I'm on my way to this thing, and I was I took a nap earlier in the day, and I was hungry, and I was talking to my girl, and I was like, man, I should have ate before I left because I woke up late, and I had to get ready to go to this meeting, and so I was like, man, I should have ate. Because this is a 2-hour event and I'm hungry. So I was like, and this place is in Blue Ash, right? The building is in Blue Ash, Ohio, I guess. And I guess it's in Cincinnati, I guess it's a neighborhood in Cincinnati. I'm not sure exactly how they do. They got all these different Paddock Hills and North College Hill and Bond Hill and and all these different, I guess they're neighborhoods. I guess that's what you call them. I'm not sure, but it's at Blue Ash, and I was told that Blue Ash is, there ain't that many people of my skin complexion there. So, just to be careful, be cautious. So I'm like, okay, I get there, and man, the first thing is I'm hungry, man. I'm already hungry, so I walk in and I smell food. Dudes, there's about 6 or 7 guys already in there. They're the room is huge, so they're all spaced apart. And I'm like, because I'm worried about COVID, so I'm double masked up, but I'm hungry, and they're eating fried chicken, and they got. I know this is cliche-ish, man, but they're eating fried chicken and watermelon. But it was smelling good. They had chips, they had refreshment. It was and I walked in, and Stan, he greeted me, he was like, hey man, welcome, I'm glad you're here. And he's like, man, go back there and get yourself something to eat if you're hungry. And I was like, shoot, yeah, all right. So me being coming from where I'm coming from, I sat back in the back away from everybody, got me a plate and ate. And I'm just listening to the general conversation about these guys. Like I said, it's about 6, 7 guys in there. We're all spread out, and they're having an open discussion. We haven't really started yet. Like, we're still like just openly just having, like, they're having discussions. I haven't really said anything. I'm just kind of like observing. And all these guys are just come out of prison. Like, they're all out of prison. They're all doing different things, and they're talking about different things that's happening and like the little struggles they going through. And I'm like, wow, like I'm hearing this, and I'm saying like some of the stuff they're talking about is some of the similar things that I'm dealing with. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'm listening. So I engaged with a couple of the guys, and they talked about they had been in the feds, and I'm like, yo, where you been? And where you been? And when they tell me where they're from, I can tell, like I said, I did a lot of time in the feds, and like when they tell you where they're at, basically their security level and blah blah blah. And so I'm like, okay, so it's not really too many guys that like been to the USPs, but they're still been incarcerated, so it's still cool. And so I'm like, okay, I can see that this might be it. This might be all right. So another guy comes in, and he goes straight up to Stan. He was like, hey, the police got old boy out in the parking lot, man. They got him outside the car. They got his doors open. He was like, what? He was like, yeah, they got him hemmed up out in the parking lot. So Stan, his name is Stan Ross, he goes out. He was like, man, hold on. So he goes out, and we're all like, dang, man, like the police is messing with us up here, but we're in Blue Ash. So, and so I'm thinking like this is a normal thing. And then, a few minutes later, probably about 10 minutes later, Stan comes back in with the guy. I'm like, oh, okay, well, shoot, all right. So it turns out that, they said they pulled him over because they couldn't see his license plate. That's what they pulled him over for. But then when they engaged with him, they ended up finding out where he was going, what he was doing, and what the program was about. And they wanted to come into the program and speak to us. They wanted to know if they could be invited to come and speak. And Stan turned, like I said, like Stan had said, like how do you turn lemons into lemonade? But this was an opportunity for us to be able to engage with the police, and them to engage with us, and there's some learning. We can learn some stuff. So we started talking about these things about the police, and like having contact with the police, and like, so the guy that got pulled over is on probation, and so the guys was like, well, maybe you should notify your PO, he was like, nah, man, I ain't getting in trouble, so I could just let him go. I can just let it go. I ain't got to say nothing. And all the other guys was like, oh yeah, you didn't get in trouble, so blah blah blah. And I personally know that the stipulation for anybody that is on supervision, whether it's probation or parole, whether it's state or federal, one of the stipulations states exactly this: you must notify your parole officer within 24 hours of having contact with law enforcement. Period. That's the language that it says. It says if you however it says, the bottom line is if you have any contact with the law enforcement agency, you must inform your parole officer or probation officer within 24 hours. Now, me personally, I got violated for a call. Like, I called the police. I'm the one that called the police because I was having a situation, and I was like, I'm gonna call the police. That's what they're there for. So I called the police. Situation was handled, but I got in trouble because I didn't tell my parole officer that I had contact with the police. And I'm like, dude, but I called the police. Like, I did it. And he was like, it doesn't matter. And so I know that, like, that was one of the starting points of me making sure I paid attention to the rules. So I raised my hand and was like, hey, you know, that you got to contact your PO and tell them, like, you had contact with the police. And everybody turned to me and was like, what? Like, really? And then I had I told him my little situation. And they were like, oh, okay. And so now, so I'm bringing value to the thing. But they're like, and so we just started having a conversation, and it just kept going and going. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is just amazing, because like I felt like I belonged in there. And so we had the meeting, and it was a real relaxed atmosphere. I didn't have to be on guard or on point or anything like that. And I was really like, I was at ease. Like I was around like-minded guys, man. And I felt like I was like, all right, I'm around some comrades. And so it was like, man, it was real cool. I thought it was really, really cool that I was able to relax, to be relaxed. And I was like, man, so, after the meeting, I had a chance to, really sit down and talk to Stan, and he introduced me to Patrick, who was a guy that was from out of the area too. And he had already graduated the program, and he was just coming back to, just to come back and to give back. And I learned that he's a mentor, and that he goes to courtrooms and, and he talks to, he talks to the guys, and he's done a bunch of time, and, he's did what he did. He's from, I think he said he's from Mexico, but, Hispanic guy, man, and real positive attitude. Like, I was like, dude, like, yeah, I like you. I like what you're about. Then I had an opportunity to talk more with Stan Ross, who runs the PIT program. And I tell you, man, this whole event was God ordained. Like, I mean, there was things that he was saying that I had, like, God, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but God is always moving. And things that he's putting in places, and doors that he's closing, and doors that he's opening, and people that he's running across your path. You don't even know that this stuff has been designed by God way before you even knew what was going on. But everything that I've been through, like, and Stan said, like, January the 5th, at this day, Wednesday, January the 5th, was a day that God set aside for this day. Like, everything that we went through led up to that moment. And it couldn't have been, like, we couldn't have wrote a better script for how everything played out, because, like, there was one thing that he said, like, and he said a lot, but there's a couple things that he said. The one thing that resonated within my soul was, he said, iron sharpens iron. And he was like, this is what we're here doing, men grooming men to be men, iron sharpening iron. And that was like one of the mantras in the prison system that I was in. That was part of our mantra in the ministry team. So I was like, when he said it, it was like, whoa, and then, he's a spirit-filled guy too. So I'm like, man, and we get to talking back and forth, and in our conversation, I realized that we're like kindred souls, and Patrick is we're all like part of God's bigger plan. Like, this is like, he just brought all this together. He had some information on his desk that was sitting out about meeting with the reentry people, and I had a meeting yesterday with reentry people, and it was like, wow, it was just everything just came together. Like, everything just came together, and it was an amazing experience. That's the best that I can tell you, man. It was just an amazing experience. And it was God's providence. Like, it was God's supreme workmanship at work. And I am so glad that I reached out for some help, because I got more than I could possibly want. And it just amazes me how God is just continuously blessing me and putting things in my lap. And when I have a need and I express that need to the Father, he just lays it right out for me. It's just, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. But, okay. I gotta get it together. It's amazing. But he said something, Stan said something. He said, strive to be a person of value. Because when you're a person of value to the world will pay you for being yourself. Think about that. And I believe that. I believe that if you bring value to the world will compensate you. And I'm living proof. I am living proof. Like, I'm just telling you, I'm living proof. So I just wanted to tell you guys about the PIT program, man, and what was going on with me is awesome. I'm sorry I talked your ear off, but I just wanted you to know, like, that was an amazing thing, man, amazing thing, and I can't wait to go back. I think there's going to be big things coming out of there, and I can't wait to see where God takes this program and me and us really, and see where it goes, man. I'm in. I'm in. So I gotta say it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the notification button. That was free. Y'all know who that was for. You know who that was for. I love it. Okay. All right. Remember, God loves you. So do I. Peace. One love.